So let's go on to our next topic today, hydrogen peroxide. Water हम लोगों ने कल वाली क्लास में खत्म कर लिया था. This is the last topic, the last compound of this chapter which we are going to do. Now hydrogen peroxide, which is represented or has the chemical formula of H2O2, it was discovered by L.J. Thenard. L.J. Thenard was the scientist who discovered this, and it is also known as oxygenated water. It is also known as oxygenated water because of the oxygen which is extra present with respect to the formula of water. Okay? Then we are going on to the laboratory preparation. Lab preparation of hydrogen peroxide. It can be formed from or prepared from sodium peroxide. So we are going to react sodium peroxide with water when we are going to get an alkali plus hydrogen peroxide. Now sodium peroxide in small amounts at a time is going to be added to cold 20% sulfuric acid such as to get H2O2. So this is one method, or you can also add or react sodium peroxide with H2SO4. The concentration of H2SO4 taken over here is going to be 20%, and also we are going to reduce the temperature so that the solution that is cold, such as to get sodium sulfate plus H2O2. ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद solution of hydrogen peroxide that is always going to consist of dissolved sodium sulfate. So over here the H2O2 which we get, that is not absolutely pure. It will always have certain amount of sodium sulfate. Okay? Then the second method is it is prepared from barium peroxide. Barium peroxide is a hydrated salt. So when we are looking at barium peroxide, it has the formula BaO2.H2O. 8H2O. This is the formula of barium peroxide. We react this with sulfuric acid and the temperature that is decreased to as low as 0 degrees Celsius, when we are going to get barium sulfate, hydrogen peroxide plus water. Now over here the barium sulfate which is formed, that is going to be filtered and the solution of H2O2 that can be obtained, right? Now it is seen that the use of sulfuric acid, as we are doing over here, the use of sulfuric acid has one disadvantage. The disadvantage is that it catalyzes the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide very easily. So when we are looking at H2O2 which is formed by reaction of H2SO4 in this reaction and H2SO4 in that reaction, in both these cases the H2SO4 that has a tendency to decompose the H2O2 which is formed. So instead of H2SO4 we can use weak acids like orthophosphoric acid . We can use orthophosphoric acid, or we can use carbolic acid. Okay? So weak acid they can be used over here. The next process which we have, that is the Merckx process. The third method to manufacture or prepare hydrogen peroxide, that is Merckx process. Now in case of Merckx process, H2O2 can be obtained by reacting barium oxide with water and carbon dioxide. When we are going to get over here barium carbonate plus hydrogen peroxide. Okay? So this is what we are getting. Barium carbonate that is insoluble and so it can be easily filtered off, and the solution that contains majorly of H2O2. Then we go on to the manufacture of H2O2. Now the manufacture means that we are going to prepare H2O2 on large scale. So when we are doing the manufacture, the first one, that is by oxidation of isopropyl alcohol. So we are oxidizing over here isopropyl alcohol, the reaction that is going to take place at 70 degrees Celsius. So we have over here isopropyl alcohol, which is, okay, this is the formula for isopropyl alcohol, and over here we are going to oxidize it at 70 degrees Celsius, when we are going to get acetone plus hydrogen peroxide, acetone plus H2O2. Now acetone over here and whatever unreacted isopropyl alcohol which is formed, that can be distilled, leaving behind an aqueous solution of hydrogen peroxide. Okay? So this is the first method. The second method is a more prominent method, which is the electrolytic process. Second process which we have, that is the electrolytic process. In this we are going to take 50% H2SO4 and we are going to electrolyze it. So that is going to dissociate into 2H positive plus 2HSO4 negative. Right? So this is what we are going to get over here. Now in this case, when we are looking at the reaction at the cathode, so cathode पे क्या reaction होगा? We have 2H positive, ठीक है? That is going to gain 2 electrons to release hydrogen at the cathode, and we are looking at the anode over here. In case of anode, 2HSO4. Reaction at the anode, it is going to be 2HSO4 negative. This is going to lose 2 electrons to give us H2S2O8. Now this H2S2O8 can be hydrolyzed to give us H2S2O8. This can be hydrolyzed to give us H2SO4, 2H2SO4 plus H2O2. The H2O2 which we get over here, that is going to be only 30%, right? And then it can be concentrated, but the concentration, that is not really very easy. We will go on to the concentration of H2O2. Just check. So what we are getting over here, that is only 30% of H2O2. Now how do we concentrate the H2O2 solution? Let's see what are the methods of concentration, because 30% which we are getting over here is quite less. So let's see how do we concentrate. So let's go on to concentration of H2O2. Now over here, hydrogen peroxide, which is obtained by all the methods which we have done over here, that is always a dilute aqueous solution. Okay. Now we need to concentrate this. In order to concentrate, it is done by the following steps which we are going to discuss over here. Let's go on to the first step. Now over here, the dilute solution, that is going to be concentrated at a temperature of 60 degrees centigrade to 70 degrees centigrade over a water bath. Okay, so we're taking a water bath. Now water which is being more volatile than hydrogen peroxide, what will happen? Some amount of water that is going to get evaporated. Now as the water will get evaporated over here, the concentration of the solution that becomes at least 30%. Okay, so we are taking hydrogen peroxide and we are heating it to 60 to 70 degrees centigrade over a water bath, when certain water that is going to get evaporated, as a result of which we obtain over here 30% of H2O2. This is the first step. Now over here, the solution which we get over here again is not completely concentrated. We only have 30% of H2O2. Now the solution that is going to be distilled, the solution, the 30% of H2O2 that we are going to distill, and the temperature which is going to be maintained is 35 degree centigrade to 40 degree centigrade. Okay? Now after this 35 to 40 degree centigrade, we are going to reduce the pressure, as a result of which we get approximately 90% of H2O2. So quite a concentration of H2O2 can be obtained by the second method. Now further concentration, if we want to still further concentrate it, we are going to cool the above mixture, right? So this cooling that is done with the help of dry ice or solid carbon dioxide and ether bath. Right? So we are going to take solid carbon dioxide and ether bath and crystallize it. Okay? So once the crystallization that is going to take place and the crystals they start settling down, we get approximately 99% of H2O2. So this is how concentration of H2O2 that can be done. Let's go on to the properties. Properties of H2O2. When we're doing the properties, it is a syrupy liquid, right? It is colorless. But when we're talking of thick layers, over here, these thick layers, they are going to appear bluish green in color, just like that of water. Okay? फिर उसके बाद number 2, it has, of course, it is going to be odorless over here. It is going to have no smell. So it has no smell, so it is odorless. It is going to be soluble in water, alcohol, and also ether. So it is going to be soluble in water, alcohol and ether, all three. It forms blisters. Once it is exposed to skin, it forms blisters on the skin. Okay? It is going to form blisters on the skin, and it is associated liquid due to the hydrogen bonding which is present. So it exists as an associated liquid due to hydrogen bonding. So these are some of the physical properties. Let's go on to the chemical properties. Chemical properties, when we're doing the chemical properties, it is going to act as both oxidizing as well as reducing agent. So it acts as both oxidizing as well as reducing agent. So let's go on to the oxidizing properties of H2O2. The first one which we are going to do, that is the oxidizing action in acidic medium. oxidizing action in acidic medium. In case of acidic medium, it has the tendency to oxidize ferrous ions to ferric ion. So the reaction, this is strictly according to the NCERT book which we are doing. We are not going into too much of details over here. So we have in acidic medium, we are doing the reaction 2H positive, and the reaction obviously will take place in presence of H2O2 because that is behaving as the oxidizing agent. We are going to get over here 2Fe3 positive plus water. So ferrous gets oxidized to ferric. In a similar manner, lead sulfide will get oxidized to lead sulfate. So we have over here PbSO4 and plus it is going to give us 4H2O. Okay, so this is the reaction which is taking in acidic medium. Let's go on to the reducing action. Reducing action in acidic medium. Reducing action, we will see that permanganate ion is converted to manganese ion. So we have permanganate ion which is MnO4 plus the reaction is taking place in acidic medium. So plus 6H positive. This is going to be converted to manganese plus we will get over here 4H2O and we will get over here 5O2. So this is going to be the reaction over here in which permanganate ion that is going to be converted to manganate ion. ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद नेक्स्ट हमारे पास आता है the reduction of hypochlorous acid HOCl plus H2O2 to chloride ion. So over here Cl negative that is going to be given plus H3O positive plus O2. Then the next reaction is oxidizing action in basic medium. The third one which we are going to do, oxidizing action in basic medium. So let's go on to the oxidizing reaction in basic medium. In case of basic medium, again Fe2 positive can be oxidized to Fe3 positive, but the reaction will take place in basic medium. So the reaction which we have over here is plus 4OH negative. ठीक है? This is going to be the reaction over here. And then next is manganese can be converted to Mn4 positive. So we have over here Mn2 positive. That in presence of H2O2 plus 2OH negative. So this is again the reaction is going to be in basic medium. Then fourth is reducing action in basic medium. Reducing action in basic medium. In basic medium, when we are doing the reducing action, iodine is converted to iodide ion. So the reaction is going to be plus 2OH negative. This is going to be converted to iodide ion. H2O2 plus oxygen, right? 2H2O plus oxygen. This is going to be the reaction over here. In a similar manner, MnO4 negative is converted to MnO2. So we have over here Mn4 negative. The reaction that will take place in presence of a peroxide, hydrogen peroxide. So H2O2. This is going to give us 2MnO2, manganese dioxide, and plus and plus 2OH negative. Just see whether this thing is hydrogen, that is 2 to the 4 to 6. Yes, it is balanced. Okay? So these are going to be some of the chemical properties of hydrogen peroxide. Now the difficulty with hydrogen peroxide is going to be its storage. Because it has a tendency to decompose into water and oxygen, therefore its storage that becomes a big task. So let's see how we are doing the storage of H2O2. Alright, so when we are doing the storage, as I just told you, that H2O2 is not very stable, so it decomposes to water slowly in presence of light. So we have H2O2 will decompose into water plus oxygen. So this reaction that is going to take place on exposure to light. So how do we store it? The hydrogen peroxide that is generally stored in wax-lined glass bottles or plastic vessels. And because the decomposition is taking in light, therefore we have to maintain darkness where we are storing hydrogen peroxide. Okay? Also we can add urea as a stabilizer, which helps H2O2 to be stabilized and it does not decompose into water and oxygen. And it is kept away from dust . It is going to be kept away from dust because that can induce explosive decomposition. Because if we keep it in dust, it is quite a possibility that dust has a tendency to induce decomposition. Okay? So this is what is the method of storage. Now we get one numerical from the next section, especially in your competitions. So be careful when we are doing, or be attentive when we are doing this topic over here, because this is one of the only questions I have seen in competitions. It comes from this chapter. Okay? So that is strength of H2O2. This is important. Now what is strength of H2O2? That is going to be expressed in terms of volume. Okay? And that also at NTP. So 1 volume of hydrogen, the amount of oxygen which is liberated when 1 volume of hydrogen peroxide is heated. That is how we are going to calculate the strength. So what is strength over here? It is the volume of oxygen at NTP which is released when 1 volume of hydrogen peroxide is heated. So this can come in the term of definition also. What do you understand by strength of H2O2 for the subjective questions, and for objective you can get a numerical. So if we are taking, suppose we are taking, we have 10 volumes, right, of H2O2. That means what? If we are heating 1 volume of H2O2, that is giving us 10 volumes of oxygen. So the strength of H2O2 that is going to be equal to what? 10 volumes. Have you understood? It means 10 volumes of strength of H2O2 means that if we are heating 1 volume of H2O2 or heating 1 volume of H2O2, it is giving us 10 volumes of oxygen. So that is the strength, 10 volumes of H2O2, that means this. That 1 volume of heating of hydrogen peroxide, that is liberating 10 volumes of oxygen. So the strength of H2O2 that is going to be 10 volumes. Okay, let's illustrate illustrate this with the help of an example. How are we going to do the calculations in this section? Now, if in case we have 2H2O2, this is going to decompose as 2H2O plus O2. Okay? Is it clear? So this is how it is going to decompose over here. Now, over here when we are talking of 2H2O2, now we are talking of the grams. The molecular mass of this, that will be equal to 68 grams. 2 into 32. Okay? Now 2 into 34, sorry. Now when we are taking this, we are seeing that we are getting only one volume of oxygen. One volume of oxygen, that will be equal to 22400 ml. Right? So it means that 22400 ml, that is obtained by heating 68 grams of H2O2. Okay? Or in other words, 10 milliliters of oxygen will be obtained from how much? 10 milliliters will be obtained by 68 divided by 22400 into 10. Okay? So this comes to 0.03035 grams. This is what the calculation is going to give us. 0.03035 grams of H2O2. Okay, so 1 milliliter of H2O2 will contain how much? Having over here 1 milliliter of H2O2, that is going to contain how much of this thing? It is going to contain 0.03035 grams of H2O2. Right? Now over here 100 ml will contain how much then? 100 ml of H2O2 will contain 3.035 grams of H2O2. Okay? So what is going to be the concentration of 10 volume? Concentration of 10 volume, that will be equal to how much? That will be equal to 3.035 into 10. That is 30.3 grams per liter. You can directly take 1000 ml also over here. 1000 ml, that is going to be equal to 30.35, but because we are going to calculate the concentration of 10 volumes, therefore this may be given 20, this may be given 30. That is how we have done it separately. Okay? So if they are given 10 volume, you have to multiply 3.035 into 10. If they are given 20 volume, you multiply it by 20 over here, and so on. So this is how the numerical of this particular section has to be done, and this is important. Okay? Then we come to structure. Now when we are talking of structure over here, we have two types of structure. One which is the gas phase structure, and the other that is going to be the solid phase. So let's go on to the gas phase structure over here. The planar structure, if we are looking at, this is how the structure is going to be. This is how we generally make the structure. Now over here, let's say this is R1, this is R2, and this is theta1, and this is going to be theta2. So this is the planar structure. In this case, the value of R1, that is 147.5 picometers. Okay, so this radius over here, or the distance over here, that is going to be 147.5 picometers. R2, 95 picometers. The structure of H2O2 is also very, very important. Then we have theta1, which is 111.1 picometers, and we have theta2, which is 94 theta 1 is in degrees, 111.1 degrees, and theta 2, that is 94.8. Right? So then we go on to the structure in the solid phase. In the solid phase structure, when we are looking at the structure in the solid phase, over here again we have H, O, O and H. Again the structure that is going to be made like this. Now over here we have, say this is R1, R2, theta 1 and theta 2. You will see that the dimensions over here, they are going to be different. R1 is very less with respect to the one in the gaseous phase. It is only 98.5 picometers. Then we have R2, which is going to be larger. It is 145.8 picometers, right? And then we have theta 1, which is 90.2 picometers, and we have theta 2, degrees, 101.9 degrees, right? So this is going to be the structure. Now when we are looking at the uses of hydrogen peroxide, it is used as a bleaching agent for bleaching delicate fibers like wool, silk, bone, ivory, hair, etc. So when we go for coloring in all of the hair, hydrogen peroxide that is generally present. Even bleaching, जो face की bleaching करते हैं, उसमें भी hydrogen peroxide, that smell which you get is of chlorine and H2O2 mixed together. Okay, although H2O2 itself does not have any odor at all. Then second, it is used as a valuable antiseptic and germicide for washing wounds, teeth, right? So even in the mouth washes and all, there is certain amount of hydrogen peroxide which is present under the name of perhydrol. Under the name of perhydrol. ठीक है? फिर 3% of H2O2 that is used as a mild antiseptic. Okay, so this is another use which we have. Then H2O2 that is used as an oxidizing agent in control of pollution. You know that hydrogen peroxide that is going to dissociate giving oxygen. So in case of pollution it is used as an oxidizing agent. Then it is also used for restoring color of old paintings. There are many old historical paintings which have lost their color. So applying a thin film of hydrogen peroxide on them can restore its original color. Okay. And then finally it is used in the detection of titanium, vanadium and chromium ions in their respective salts. So this is all about this chapter hydrogen. The next chapter which we will begin with, that is S block elements.